Hey, what's going on, family? Welcome back to this week's episode of Routed Up. Myself, Whittle 2K, and JMIK. We're going to talk about Week 11 football. Welcome back to another episode. JMIK, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good on this Saturday morning, man.
All right, same here. So first, we're not even going to waste no time, and we're going to get right into the Thursday night football recap. And where we had the Commanders go up against the Eagles, and the Eagles were victorious. And I started out saying that we were going to talk about Week 11 football, and I'm gonna stress the week because the Commanders had me on the train, they had me on the bandwagon, and I had to hop right off at the next stop, man. I look at this game, and the first thing I say to myself after I watched it the second time, because at first I was mad at Jaden. I'm like, man, Jaden got to play better than this, man. And then I looked again and I said, you know what? This is the first time all year I looked at the Commanders and said, Jaden does not have enough help. This is the first time I saw it. He does not have enough. Um, and I'm gonna push that into the coaching as well. Cliff Kingsbury, what are you on, bro? What are you on? Okay. What are you on? What were you on Thursday night? Some of the play calls I really didn't understand. I felt like Jaden was a little hesitant. I thought the difference in this game was the talent level between the Eagles roster and the Commanders roster. You know, I think if they play again, I think if they play five more times, I think the result is probably still the Eagles win most of those games, but I think it's a little bit closer. I think the Commanders could have been better, and I think the Eagles just took advantage of some of their mistakes and some of their mishaps. What were your thoughts on Thursday night football?
Uh, so full disclaimer: the first time I watched the game, I was out at a work event at a bowling alley. So I mean, I was bowling and watching it, and then I rewatched it yesterday. If I mean, for those of y'all that don't know, going into the draft, I was a Jaden Daniels guy. I was a Patriot fan, and I mean, we drafted Drake May, but I really wanted Jaden Daniels. So I'm in the Jaden Daniels camp still. So I mean, like, it's not like I don't want to do, see the kid do well. Like, I really want to see him do well. And I'm not trying to give him no excuses, but like, we just got to understand, like, when you have rib injuries, like, they don't go away in 1 week. They really don't. Like, it takes a good amount of, I don't care how young you are. I mean, you could be 20 or you could be 30 or you could be 40. Like, them things take time to heal up. And just some of the things that I've seen him do, and I really haven't seen him do when he's healthy. Like, I mean, he's bracing for hits, something I've really never seen him do before. So I think it's a combination of that. Like, I don't think he's 100% healthy, but I mean, I come from the camp where if you get on the field, then you're playing. And so I'm not going to give you that excuse. So if you're playing, then you got to play. And I mean, this might have been his worst game of the season, just to be honest. I mean, the Eagles defense has been playing a lot better since week 5. I mean, there's like stats out there that I think they're number 1 in like DVOA since week 5 or something like that. I could also say that they really ain't really played, stiff, like in the last 4 to 5 weeks, the competition they played hasn't really been the greatest either. But I mean, they are starting to turn it around. Coaching wise, what I did not like in that game was, some of the offensive, play call. I'm not gonna say all of it, because I mean, some of the play calling was good. It's just like, you have a really thin line between play calling and execution. There's, like they like one's like the left hand, like, one's like the right hand. So there were times where I didn't like the play calling, and then I like the execution. And there were times that I liked the play calling, but the execution wasn't there. So I mean, they got to show that up. And I think the thing about Cliff is Cliff has this. So like in Cliff's resume, right, wherever he goes, the first half of the season, the offense tends to be on fire. The second half, it tends to kind of go down the drain a little bit. So he's gonna have to come up with some things going down the stretch. And I don't think the Commanders are in danger of not making the playoffs or anything like that. Like I just think he's got 10 days to the next game. So he's got to figure out some things with that offense, some like new wrinkles and things of that nature. To give defenses something to think about. Because it's kind of like what you said. Like they have Scary Terry, but after Scary Terry, like there's not a lot in that receiving core. And I get that they drafted McCaffrey. I get that. Like going into the draft, like McCaffrey, I liked him too. But like there's not a lot to work with. So you got to use your pieces. You got to use Eckler and Brian Robinson and Scary Terry and McCaffrey, and your tight ends as well. You just kind of got to create wrinkles in your offense so that you got defenses kind of thinking about, hey, like we got to watch out for A, B, C, and D. Now, speaking of the coaching, what I didn't like in that game was when the Redskins had a 4th and 2, they had a field goal to kick it. And at this point, the Eagles hadn't scored any touchdowns. So in my mind, I'm like, well, kick the field goal. Like the Eagles are already they're already kind of tight because they've been in the red zone a lot and they haven't scored. Your defense has been holding up. So go up 13-12, put the pressure on Jalen Hurts and that offense to score touchdowns or at least score, but Dan Quinn kind of bailed them out because it's like they didn't make it. They kind of lost the momentum. And then right after that, like the Eagles scored like 14 unanswered or something like something like that, 14 or 15 or how many ever points it was unanswered. I just think he kind of left them off the hook. And he's not a rookie coach. So at some point, like to me, I get it. Like data is cool. And like that's the trend right now is just, like using that and I'm trying to be super smart. But sometimes when it's the 4th quarter, you're down in the game, you just got to kick the field goal. You got to go up because in that situation, like everybody expect the Eagles to win that division. So, you got to go up at least by some amount of points to put the pressure on them to like what I like to say is like tighten the screws. And so, but they didn't do that. And they kind of left them off the hook. And I didn't love the play call. I'd have kicked the field goal. I would have went up. And I'm not saying that the game would have been any different. Like the Eagles, Saquon, like people, I guess the thing about Saquon is like you play for teams that aren't really that good, and I'm not, I'm trying to shit on the Giants or anything, but let's face it, they had one good season the last 3 years where they went to the playoffs and like they won a playoff game. Haven't really been that good, and now Saquon got a good line, he got a good offense that he's in, and it makes him really dangerous, and that's what you saw in that 4th quarter. Like he was bottled up for most of the game, and then in that 4th quarter, man, he went absolutely nuts. So that's what I took away from the game. They have to play each other again. I could see the Commanders winning the next game. Like I don't think the difference. Talent wise, yeah, like the Eagles have a better roster. That's granted, but sometimes you can have the better roster and you just don't win. So that's just something that can happen. Like week in and week out. So
do we agree on this? The Commanders have the better quarterback.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you can doubt it. Like I think everybody was shitting on Jaden on Friday. Who I heard talking. I'm just like, bro, it's one game. his season has been really good. And he's not, and I hate to do like I hate blaming quarterbacks that have weapons that don't have, because it's like it's not their fault that their front office did the job they're supposed to do. The Eagles did the job. They built the roster around him, and he's playing with the roster that he has. He can't really do anything other than that. But it is what it is. He's playing with better weapons, and the talent is just the Eagles got more talent, and I even think the Eagles got more talent on both sides of the ball, to be honest.
Yep.
But
100%. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, they played a bunch of the Eagles. It is played a bunch of tomato cans, man. You go Cleveland, Giants, Bengals, good team, right? But Jacksonville and then the Cowboys, like very, very, very soft schedule. They got the Rams and the Ravens over the next 2 weeks. And then they got the Steelers in week 15, followed by the Commanders. So we're really gonna find out how good this Eagles team is over the next, 4 to 5 weeks, and see how they fare. I don't believe the hype on the Eagles. I still think the Commanders are gonna win this division. And yeah, I'm still on the train. I got off, but I jumped back on. I'm hanging off the bat. and one of them things that you clip and then you do like this. I'm on one of those.
Yeah,
I'm right behind the Commanders train. I believe in Daniels.
yeah.
Um,
So let me just say one more thing. You know, I mean, this is for the Commander fans that are kind of losing their brain after losing to the Eagles. I get that's your rival, cool. But like y'all gotta put stuff in perspective. Like y'all got a rookie quarterback. You won 4 games last year. Like you're gonna at least at the very minimum double your win total. So I mean you gotta take this in stride. Like, yeah, I mean you lost the game and you wanted to win, and I mean the game was within reach, but it don't mean you gotta crash out. Like, so I mean like you know I mean like y'all still got 7 wins. I mean y'all still in playoff position. The goal at the end of the day is make the playoffs. I mean that's the goal. So I mean, and I mean that goes still in front of you. And I mean, like the division, you can still win the division too. So it's like there ain't no need to crash out and just be, I mean, just be talking all crazy. I mean, like you are what 7-4, like you're pretty much at where you want to be at, I mean, like, at this point in the season. So,
yeah, they're ahead of schedule.
oh
So
yeah,
at the beginning of the year, I know Commander fans were hiring their team. I don't think really anybody else was. Nobody could look and see that Jaden Daniels was going to be this good. Even if you were a Daniels fan, you looked at the roster and some of the pieces that they lost. Um, and yeah, I didn't think that they would be this good, but here they are, man. Next question, JMIK, do you think we've had good football this year, like so far?
no, I really don't. I mean, I've been watching football almost my whole life. Um, I think if you're looking from a defensive perspective, I think the defenses are better. They've been getting better over the last few years. But I mean, but overall play, I'd say no. Like I think quarterback play is down. Like I don't. I mean, like there are a couple guys that are playing like really like elite level football, but it's not. I mean, like I can even go to Patrick Mahomes. Like if you want, like I've heard Chief fans say this. Like if you want to point to his fourth quarter performances, then cool. But the overall game, week in and week out, he hasn't been playing like himself. I mean, he hasn't been playing like himself. And I mean, like there are a number of guys at the quarterback position that aren't playing like themselves. But I could link that to these defenses that are playing really, really well. And so yeah, I mean, like I don't mind defensive football. I don't mind like off like the game of football has many different facets where you could take it. So I don't mind that the defenses are like playing really, really well on offense or not. But if I'm answering that question, I gotta say no. And it's not just from the quarterback position, but it's also like pre-snap penalties. It's just like these guys have been playing this game for a long time. Like there are little reasons why you cannot line up correctly. And throughout the 10 weeks, like the 10 weeks I've watched, there's a lot of pre-snap penalties that really shouldn't be happening. I'm not even talking about encroachment or like offsides. Like I'm talking about like illegal formations. Like you've been playing this game long enough where you should know the rules and you should not be lining up incorrectly. Like you should not be like covering up a tackle and they run the play and like it's a flag and they got to because it's a like it's a legal formation. Like I don't like that points to me. It's not just the players, but it's also the coaching is not as good either. Like I could. I mean, maybe there might be 5 or 6 really, really good coaches, but after the 5 or 6, I mean, I kind of struggle to tell you who's a good coach. So I think it's a combination of like all those factors.
I'm gonna disagree, man. I mean, I do think that we're seeing some of the I guess some of the teams that we're used to being really good over the last 5 to 10 years kind of fall by the wayside a bit harder than we expected. Um, but I think where there's been a drop off in play from some of these teams, you're seeing a resurgence in other areas, like other teams like the Cardinals. The Tampa Bay Bucks look like they're on their way back to being a contender in the NFC. I think you're looking at Detroit now established themselves as a powerhouse. Green Bay just seems to pick up where they left off, like three quarterbacks in a row, 3 franchise quarterbacks. Like they are 100% when drafted. But you still have Buffalo, you still have the Ravens, you still have the Chiefs, but the Chargers look to be headed in a better direction from where they were to where they are now. Denver's picked back up. Um, and on top of that, you got a Houston team that is back into the fold as a contender. So yeah, there's been some drop off. The Colts, used to be a really good team. They're not that now. Jacksonville used to be one of those teams that you thought would be, would be around, and they're not. The Patriots look like they're heading in the right direction. Even the quarterback play. Yes, there's been a drop off in some of the quarterbacks, but Josh Allen doesn't have a ton of turnovers. Lamar Jackson's playing out of this world. Uh, you know, I mentioned Tampa Bay. You have Baker Mayfield, who's played pretty well. Sam Darnold's had a resurgence, even though he hasn't looked great the last couple of weeks. But Jared Goff looks good. Stafford's still putting together good games. Mighty Mouse in Arizona is doing his thing. Like, there's a lot to like uh, in the NFL, and I think when you look at some of these key games or these you look at some of these games, you have the Chiefs and the Ravens week one. You have the Ravens and the Bengals. Both games actually that came down to one score. Um, you had the Jets and the Bills. It's a field goal game. You have Detroit and Green Bay, it kind of got out of hand, but like there have been really good games. I thought the Commanders and the Ravens game was a great game as well. So I personally have been entertained. Um, I feel like it's been entertaining football. It's been I don't know if good football is the best way to describe it. It's definitely been entertaining. It's definitely been fun to watch. But I just think that there's been a little regression to the mean for some guys, and some guys are playing out of this world, and it's just different. I think this season so far is just a little different. But yeah, I'm leaning towards good football this year, so maybe we'll agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean,
Playoff seed. Okay, go ahead. My bad.
oh yeah, yeah. I was just about to say one thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, just to clarify, like I'm good with the defenses. I mean, controlling some of these games. Like I'm good with that. Like I don't. For me, I don't need a 45 to 42 game every week. Every single game. I don't need that. Some people do, and I mean, I get it. I mean, for the gamblers and like for those people and like the people that play fantasy football, I get it. I mean, points equals more scoring in your leagues. But I mean, I'm cool with a 13-10 game or a 17-14 game, and then I'm also cool with a 35 to 31 game. So I mean, like, like you don't want to have too much of, I mean, just like, one thing. So
100%, man. 100%. Um, playoffs. Seating right now. Let me pull this up. Let's see. Playoff picture. So far, this is what we got. We got the Kansas City Chiefs. Um, oh wait, this is wrong. Idiot. Oh, it's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. All right. Here we go. All right, we got the Kansas City Chiefs is the one seed, Buffalo Bills two, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the three spot, the Houston Texans at the four, Baltimore at five. Um, who are these guys? The Chargers at six, and the Denver Broncos at seven. Now, on the outside looking in, you got the wait, is that correct? Yeah,
yeah, I think
because
you got the Bengals and the Colts that are like one game behind the Broncos because they're both 4-6.
yeah. All right, yeah. I'm just making sure. All right, yeah. Okay.
Because I'm not
So
about to. Yeah, I was about to say, like, I'm not about to mention like the teams only got 3 wins. I mean, I don't see the point in that. Like, until you can
right.
get at least 2 games within 500, like, I'm not really gonna talk about you. I'm sorry.
Correct. So we'll just go with the top nine, right? So on the outside looking in right now, the Colts at 4-6 and the Bengals at 4-6. How do you see this playing out? Do you see either one of those teams being able to make a push for a wild card? Because I don't think either one of them has a shot at their division. So,
Yeah.
um,
So what I say about the good thing for the Colts is the Colts don't play the Texans anymore. They already lost twice to the Texans. So we look at it like that, and like they still have division games left, so they're gonna have division games against the Jaguars and the Titans. It puts them in a better situation when they get to those games because both of them teams is tanking. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, they saying he's hurt. I don't really know how hurt the boy is. Like, I think they're really trying to get one of them top 5 picks because I think they're looking for a left tackle. As far as the Jaguars go, and then the Titans, like the Titans are just not a good team. So I mean, depending on how many times the Colts got to play them, I think it looks good for them. And versus the Broncos, they're hanging on to that last spot. They should have beat the Chiefs last week. If they'd have beat the Chiefs, I'd have been like, that that's going to be the Broncos spot, and they're going to get it because they'd have been 6-4. But I will say I do expect the Bengals to make the playoffs, and I don't expect the Broncos to make the playoffs. That's the way I see it playing out.
On the other side, I actually think the way that it is now is the way that it's probably going to end up. I do not see the Bengals being able to gain enough ground. They got too many division games to go, man. Still got to play Cleveland again. You got 2 games against the Steelers left. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pulling up their schedule now. Like the rest of their schedule is, yeah, they got Denver. They got 2 games against Pittsburgh. They got a game against Cleveland. And this Chargers game is huge, huge. And their last 2 games, Denver and Pittsburgh. Like they're gonna need both of those games. And I'm sure Denver's gonna need their game and Pittsburgh's gonna need their game as well. The one thing that the Bengals have always had struggles with is protecting Joe Burrow, right? They've always had issues with the offensive line. And you got Cleveland, Denver, and Pittsburgh back to back to back. That's week 16, 17, and 18. So Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson, followed by Nick Benito, Zach Allen, all of these guys that they got in Denver. And then Pittsburgh, you know, the demon, TJ Watt, Highsmith, Keanu Benton, Cam Hayward, like all of those monsters there, Herbert. So I don't know. I can't see it. They have too many AFC losses already. You got a loss to Baltimore. You have 2 losses to Baltimore, a loss to Kansas City, and a loss to New England. Are they going to sweep the Steelers? I don't see it.
No,
They never play well. They have trouble with the Browns. They still got a game against the Browns. I mean, I don't know if they get that one either. Um,
I
so
mean,
I don't know.
I mean, the one thing I will say, looking at the standings in the conference, like the Broncos and the Bengals got the same conference record. They're both 2-4 in the conference. So if they ever got into the spot where they had the same record, but I mean, like they are going to play each other late in the season. Like looking at the schedule, though, interesting thing, the Broncos got to play the Bengals and the Colts. So
Right.
I mean, like those like head-to-head matchups are going to they're probably going to make the difference in who makes the playoffs. So.
And the lucky thing for the Broncos is they also get to play the Raiders, which that's that's a layup. So I mean I would be worried. Um, yeah, I would be a little worried if I was the Bengals. I don't see it. Like for them to make the playoffs to me means they need to sweep the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just don't know if they can. I don't know if they can do that.
But I mean, honestly speaking, like when I look at the standings and whoever whether it's the Bengals, the Broncos, the Colts, I mean maybe even the Dolphins. I mean, I said I wasn't talking about no 3-win teams, but they don't have 7 losses. They only got 6. They have the same amount of losses as the Bengals and the Bengals and the Colts. But it's like when you look at all them 3 teams, like the chances are you're going to either have to go up against the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Steelers or the Ravens. Chances are they're not going to be any one of them teams. And I think there's a stat out there saying that no 7 seed has ever won a playoff game. So, and I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like the format is obviously newer. It's only been around for 3-4 years. I get it's newer, but it's never happened. And I think there's a reason for that because you got to go. The thing is, you got to go up against the second best team in the conference, and so that's just going to be tough. I mean, I don't think it matters who gets it because I think whether they play in the Steelers, the Bills, or the Chiefs, I don't see any of those teams beating them. I mean, especially not the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos got the defense to do it.
Right.
But I mean, I have questions about Bo Nix. So
Um. Yeah. I'm sorry, bro. The Bengals, like they're the Django of this group. Like they that one that could get a 7 seed and beat. Like I think they match up very well against the Chiefs. They match up very well, obviously against the Bills. Like they've been a thorn in the Chiefs and the Bills side for the last few years. Um, and they even play the Ravens tough. You know how hard it is to beat a team 3 times in 1 year?
that's
And the
true.
Ravens already got 2 on them. So I don't want the Bengals to get to the playoffs this year. Like, sorry guys. Like, I mean, I mess with a lot of y'all, but yeah, I'm really not trying to see y'all in the wild card at all. So uh maybe some of this is a little biased, but yeah, I'm not trying to see them guys, man. No thanks. I'll pass.
I mean, I would agree with you in most years, but I've watched that Bengals defense week to week, and that secondary is really suspect. Like, I mean, they really can't stop. I mean, so things like outside of Hendrickson, outside of him, man, that a defense is just not. It's just not what it's not what it's been the last couple of years. So that's why I'm kind of skeptical on it, because it's like the last couple of years, their defense has been okay, and I mean, like the DC has been able to scheme it up. I just think the talent is so bad on the side of the ball. He's still a good defensive coordinator. He just can't, I mean, it gets to a point where you can scheme up things all you want, but if the talent ain't there, the scheme can only go so far. So
Yeah, I ain't trying to see them boys, man. Like I mean, Chase is on a tear. Burrow is I think Burrow's the best processing quarterback in the NFL, pre and post snap. Like he figures out what's going on and where to go with the football faster than anybody in the league. And he's definitely got the weapons to get it done. Like, they're gonna get T. Higgins back, even though every time T. Higgins get a hangnail, he out for 2 weeks. I think even still, they're going to be able to figure this out offensively and put up enough points and get enough stops with to win a game. Yeah, I mean, it's one of it's like the NCAA tournament. Yeah, I mean, it's every game anything can happen. So they have enough firepower, in my opinion, to get by anybody. I'm not trying to see it. Like I'm Pittsburgh, Cleveland, somebody, deals a death blow. Finish these dudes. I'm tired. I don't want to see them no more. But yeah, what we got? Okay, I game of the week. If you don't mind, I'm a lead off on this one. I think it's clear. The game of the week. Well, let me not say it's clear. I think 3 weeks ago, the NFL looked at the upcoming schedule and somebody broke something in their office because you got Ravens, Steelers on the same weekend as Bills, Chiefs. And I know now in hindsight, they wish that they could have one of those games on Monday night and one of those games on Sunday night because those are, or maybe even spread out, um, moved around or flexed out or whatever. But yeah, those are the two biggest games I think this weekend. But for me, the game of the week has to be the 9-0 Chiefs going into Buffalo to face the 8-2 Buffalo Bills. Uh, if somebody finds an extra ticket, I might be on the road tomorrow morning for that 5-hour drive to Orchard Park. But yeah, this is a huge game, man. I mean, I think this is number 8. This is number 8 in the Mahomes versus Allen uh yearly thing we get over the last 4 years. When we play them like we play our division, it's like twice every year. So uh this is definitely gonna be a fun game. But I've been saying this all week. It's a no-win situation for the Bills, right? Let's say Buffalo comes out there and they beat them. They beat the Chiefs by field goal or touchdown, or they beat them by 3 touchdowns. What if it's 38-11? At the end of the day, all that's going to say is, all right, Buffalo, you were able to beat a good team in the regular season, but you still can't beat the Chiefs in the postseason. So until you do that, we really don't believe. But if the Bills lose, then it's the Bills can't beat good teams. Every time they face a good team, they lose. They lost to the Ravens. They lost to the Texans. The Chiefs, the next best thing. They lost to the Chiefs. All these other teams, the Cardinals, the Seahawks, or whatever, they may have good records, but we know that they're not elite level teams yet. And the Bills were able to do what they were supposed to do, which is handle those teams. But when it's time to deal with the upper crust or who you're going to see in a divisional or beyond, the Bills fall short again. And it'll fuel the media narrative that the Bills are, um, still not ready to compete at that Super Bowl level. Um, but you know what? It's still going to be a fun game. I think the injuries on both sides allowed us to be an entertaining game and still not take away from the potential meet in the playoffs because both teams will have key players back by the time if they run into each other in the playoffs, it'll be divisional or AFC championship. If it'll be AFC championship if the season ended today. So um yeah, this is my game of the week, man. What do you got?
I mean, I gotta mirror what you said. I mean, to me, the NFL actually set up the schedule kind of good, I think, to kind of disagree. So Ravens Steelers is like the 1 o'clock window, right? So like that's like that's the primary game for the 1 o'clock window. Bills Chiefs the primary window for the 4 o'clock game. And then the Sunday night football game could be sneaky good. You got the Bengals and the Chargers. So I think
Yeah, yep.
I mean, from a slate perspective, like they have games in every time slot that are good. My only disagreement would be with the league is Monday Night Football. Like I don't want to see the Texans and the Cowboys. The Cowboys ain't got nobody. The quarterback's out. Defense, they got hurt players on defense. Like that's not a game I really want to see. But just to mirror what you said, like
It probably look good when they scheduled it though.
yeah, I mean, they probably
And
did.
Dak and CJ, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that looks horrendous though. Like, I mean, like the Texans should let me beat them by 14 points. I don't see how that they don't beat them by at least 2 touchdowns. But I mean, we'll see. But getting back to it, game of the week for me. Whenever you got Chiefs Bills, that's gonna be the game of the week. Like, I mean, like that's like that's starting to turn into a rivalry because, like, I mean, you guys. It seems like you guys play them every year in the regular season. Like, I mean, bringing back to my team's heyday, it's like us and the Steelers. We used to play the Steelers every single year, and I think that's what this is turning into. So that would be my game of the week. I mean, like the Steelers and the Ravens is a very good game, but I just don't think it's as like as good as the Chiefs and Bills game going to be. For me, though, I kind of disagree with you on this point. I don't think either team has anything to gain, to be honest with you, because the Bills have beaten the Chiefs in the regular season. That's what the Bills have done over the last couple of years. I don't think if the Bills were to beat the Chiefs in this game, I wouldn't be that surprised. And like if the Chiefs lose, I mean, the Chiefs are back-to-back champions. I wouldn't look at them any differently. So either team, I don't feel as if any team has anything to gain or lose unless one of these teams gets blown out. Like say the Chiefs get blown out by 21 points or vice versa, the Bills get blown out by 20, then that might change my perspective a little bit, but I don't really think it will. I mean, like people have circled this game all season long because I mean, like these Chiefs and Bills games be really, really good games. And a lot of the time they go down to the wire. I mean, so you have so you have that aspect of it. I mean, like the Chiefs are going up to Buffalo in the regular season, which they haven't really done a lot of. I get it that like last year the Chiefs had to play the Bills in Buffalo last year in the playoffs, I believe. So but I mean, like I mean, for me, like in this game, what I'm looking at in this game is like, I mean, like you guys acquired Amari Cooper. Your draft pick, I forgot his name. He's not playing in the game. He's
Keon Coleman.
Keon got a hand injury. So I mean that's kind of a big deal. But it's kind of a big deal, but then it's not because the Chiefs aren't scoring a bunch of points. They're really not. Their offense, to me, has been pretty pedestrian. Like it hasn't really been like, crazy where they're scoring 35, 40 points a game. And and then the thing about Josh Allen is if Josh Allen can get on a tear, Josh Allen can score a lot of points in any game. And so the way I see it though, like I do see the Bills winning the game. And I just think the Chiefs have had way too many close calls, and at some point, it's going to catch up with you. And I think in this game, it's going to catch them. And I just think like last week they should have lost last week. I'm never a fan of a team playing for a field goal to win a game. Not that I don't trust field goal kickers, but I'm just not a big fan of that. And the Bills have been playing well. I mean, the Bills are undefeated at home. The Chiefs are undefeated on the road. So I mean, something got to give.
So I definitely want to get score predictions and I want to get that out the way for this game. Um, as much as I would love to say Bills 31, Chiefs 20, I have to go with I gotta go with Chiefs 21, Bills 20. I think it's gonna be a tight game. Um and I think to beat the Bill to beat the Chiefs, you have to be able to play man to man and long down situations. And I think you got to be effective against the run on first and second down. The Buffalo Bills are neither. They're not effective against the run or early downs. They're giving up, well over 4 yards of carry on first and second down, um, outside of the red zone. And they're a zone team. Like they play zone defense. So unless they come out here and flip the script and go totally against what they usually are, I just don't. I think that the Chiefs are going to have a game where they're going to be able to pick their spots and continue to move the football and get first downs. Now, the one caveat is the tackle play for the Chiefs has been exceptionally poor. The rookie out of BYU has not been good. Um, they've struggled to put competent tackle play out there. Mahomes took some big shots last week against the Broncos. The Broncos did a really good job of kind of constricting the pocket around him and getting to him. I don't know. I don't know. Defensive tackle play has been pretty poor for the Bills this year. I have not been happy with the play of Daquan Jones or Ed Oliver. So they brought in a couple of guys, Jordan Phillips and Quentin Jefferson, to help. But I mean, those guys are backups. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't
So
know.
the way I see it is like I think whoever has the ball last is most likely going to win this game. And I think it's going to come down to field goal kickers. And I think the Chiefs normally, with their normal kicker, would have the advantage, but he just went on IR, with some kind of knee issue. So I think that's a big deal. Like I think that's. I mean, everybody wants to talk about Mahomes and Kelsey and Josh Allen and Knox and I mean like Amari Cooper, but I think the field goal kickers are a very important part to this game that a lot of people aren't really thinking about. And so what I have the game is I have the game 24-21 Bills. I think the Bills get the ball last. I think Josh Allen drives down the field and Tyler Bass kicks the game winning field goal. I think that's how I see the game going. And like I said it earlier. I mean the Chiefs have had a lot of close calls. I'm not hating on the Chiefs or nothing like that, but it's like at some point, like the ball not gonna always bounce your way. And so I just think that's coming down the line. I just think the Bills, to me, the Bills are the second, if not the first, second, or third best team in this conference. And they normally beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Like that is a real live thing. And I get what you said about man coverage. I mean, zone coverage against Kelsey does concern me. I'm not gonna lie. Like if you try to play zone against Kelsey, that's just not gonna work. Like he will torture your zone. So that's something to look at. Like maybe Sean McDermott decides to play some different coverages. Not just straight zone the whole game. Hopefully he mixes it up because with Mahomes, you gotta. Mahomes, like any great quarterback, like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, you got to mix up the coverages. You don't mix up the coverages, and if you give him or like these elite guys, you give them those like pre-snap looks, they're gonna kill you. That's just the way it goes. Like you have to switch up those looks. So hopefully he does that. We'll see what happens, but I definitely got the Bills in this game.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to bring up real quick before we move on was the other thing in favor for the Chiefs is that the referees are all healthy. So, that's That's another situation we got to take into consideration, guys. All right, upset of the week. Leader, you got a JMIK. Who we got?
I'm gonna go. I'm looking at the Falcons Broncos game. Broncos had a tough loss last week, man. Like they geared for the Chiefs because they beat the Chiefs last year. And I think they broke the streak of them losing to the Chiefs like 15 or 16 times in a row. They had the Chiefs. Dennis Green said a long time with the Cardinals. They had them and they left them off the hook, man. So I think this is a letdown game for them. Denver is a hard place to play, but like the Falcons need to win. Like my opinion, like they kind of got their division. I don't want to say it's sold up because they had a 2-game lead on the Bucks. But the Bucks just got off playing 2 really bad, I don't want to say bad games, but like they got 2 really bad losses, not bad losses, but tough losses. So I feel like the Falcons kind of need to go out there and win. I said it earlier, I'm not the biggest Bo Nix fan. I think he can be had with certain coverages, and so like the Falcons defense isn't bad. I think the Falcons defense is like a little bit above average in my opinion. So I think they go out there. And as long as they can block it up for Kirk, man, I can see them winning this game.
Okay. I'm actually gonna pick a game from that same time slot that I don't think anybody will be watching because most people are gonna be tuned into Bills Chiefs at 4:25. I'm going with the 4:05 game, Seahawks at 49ers. And I know the Seahawks have not beat the 49ers since like Lincoln was president. I get it. I understand that. It's been a very long time. But this is the most vulnerable 49ers team I have seen in years since like they won like 2 games. This is the most vulnerable they've been. I think Seattle defensively figured something out when they brought in Ernest Jones. They finally got a linebacker who was competent against the run. They finally got somebody to help out that defensive line in run defense and gap integrity. Got it. I love this underdog pick because Metcalf's coming back. He's gonna play. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to get out there. Um, I still think Geno's a good quarterback. I still think they have a ton of talent offensively everywhere. And I think they're gonna match up just fine against the 49ers. And like you said, man, at some point it's gotta change. And you've been getting whooped all of these years. It's time. Like it's time to take the belt back and say, no, no more. You won't hit me no more. And it's enough. Enough is enough. Seattle, stand up for yourself. Pack your bags and leave. The 49ers been beating you all around the house for years. It's time to leave. Go to your mama house and rest up, for the rest of the season. Enough. That's my pick for upset.
Man, I guess your girl don't know that you picking that game because I'm not so sure she'd be happy about that, man.
I'm quiet. She in the other room right now. I'm using my inside voice. Yeah, I pick against her every week just to make her mad. No, but I really do think um I do think Seattle. This I like what I've seen from Seattle. Even though when we played them, like Gino, had some rough moments. The offensive line had some rough moments. I like I like Seattle. I like Seattle this weekend. I don't know why. I feel it, bro. I just feel it. And yeah, like you said, listen, the 49ers have looked wounded this year. Very, very wounded. And I know McCaffrey has been hurt. No Ayuk. They still working Pearsall Lynn. You got Debo, but like I'm really not feeling the outfit that Debo had on. So I technically have to pick against him now just because of that outfit. It
Yeah, it was a
was
little sassy, man. That was a little sassy a bit.
somebody said he looked like a bisexual blade on Twitter, bro. I was crying, crying, crying.
I mean,
But yeah, that's where I'm going, man. I'm not writing Gino off because he's
yeah,
not writing back. So I got them getting this done, bro.
because I think I heard like Trent Williams is not playing in this game. I heard he's out, so that's actually a big development for me. So
And they got a sneaky good line over there too.
yeah.
They really do.
So
They
yeah,
got a sneaky good defensive line over there. So I don't. Yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, let's. You good on upsets?
yeah.
All right, so we'll go to blowout notice. You know where I'm gonna go every week that they play. Oh wait, no, they on a bye. All right, never mind. The Panthers are on a bye, so we got to find another team. Nah, I don't want to do this, bro. I don't want to do this, but yo, it's got to be the 1 o'clock Lions Jags, man. Like I feel like the Lions are about to just. I, listen, man. They might have to have CSI on the sideline, man. It's gonna be ugly. That's gonna be an ugly game. Like the Lions don't really have holes, and the Jaguars aren't good, like anywhere. Defensively, they've been terrible. They don't stop big plays. They're not good at man coverage. In zone, they give up chunk plays. They can't score. I mean, this is it's gonna get ugly.
yeah, man. I went the same way, man. I looked at the slate. I mean, there were a couple games I was looking at. Like, I mean, I think the Packers Bears could get ugly for the Bears, man. That's what we, should the Patriots beat them 19-3 last week? I'm just not like I was looking at that game, but ultimately going down the slate, man, I had to go with the Mac Jones matchup, man. Mac Jones against that Lions defense, boy, it's about to be scary hours in Detroit at 1 o'clock, man. Like I couldn't pick any other game because Trevor Lawrence is not playing. Bigsby's out. They already traded away some of their pieces already. I don't see how the game is close, and also how the Lions play, how Jared Goff played last week. Jared Goff not throwing another 5 picks this week. That's not going to happen again. So even though they beat the Texans, they came off a bad performance. So I know Dan Campbell gonna have them boys ready to go. I could definitely see the Lions putting up 50 points in this game. Like I don't even think that's far fetched. Like I think it's a real possibility because I don't think the Jaguars are trying to win anyways. I mean, Jaguars got the #1 spot in terms of draft position, and I don't think they're trying to give it up. So I mean, this game could be a lot like that Titans game. It could be real ugly real quick. And that's just kind of what I see happening. If you're a Jaguars fan and you don't want to win, you want a #1 pick. I don't see you falling out that position. Like this, this week, because Mac Jones is going to throw a pick or two at least. So that's something you could count on. So
I'll never forget when Mac Jones, they had the still shot of Mac Jones in the pocket getting hit and throwing the football with his eyes closed.
yeah,
Bro, that is etched in my memory for the rest of my life. Listen, a close second, a close runner-up was the Texans, Cowboys,
yeah.
C.J. Stroud, and Nico Collins versus Trayvon Diggs. Yeah, like you talking about 200 yards right there. I think that's 200 yards, 2 touchdowns between those two guys.
Yeah. And like the Cowboys can't stop the run. And Joe Mixon been really good this year. So yeah, that game can get ugly real quick too.
Yeah, and Trayvon Diggs ain't trying to tackle nobody, so I would run and throw at him this week, Houston. But I'm pulling for the Cowboys to win because I need Houston to take another loss just so I can not have them in my hair for the play. Listen, it's about playoff seeding now. We are 4.5 games in the division, man. The magic number is 3, and yeah, I want. It's about playoff. It's about playoff seeding, brother.
I
All
mean, this
right.
let me just say one more thing. This is the sad state of the AFC East. That the AFC East is dependent on my team to beat the Bills for them not to go 6. This is how sad this division. We're not supposed to be good anyways. We're supposed to rebuild
Right.
it, but the rest of the division, if we don't do something, the Bills gonna go 6-0 in the division. So shit is crazy.
Yeah, I'm actually a little worried about playing y'all. Like I said this at the beginning of the year. I said I could see the Bills going 5-1 in the division, but one of those losses being to the Patriots because we play y'all at the end of the year. By then, Drake May's gonna be the starter. Baker and Polk gonna be, at that point they're gonna have a bunch of snaps between them. Pop already kills us virtually every time we play him. So and then Stevenson's a good back, and defensively y'all are who y'all are. I mean, I don't know. I hope we can go. I hope we can run the table, but I'm not betting on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, I mean, like the Jets ain't beating y'all, so I mean, that's that's gonna be 4-0 right there. So
This is true. This is true. We already swept up the Dolphins. Yeah, so all right, man. You got anything you want to plug to the people?
yeah, so I mean, I do the Check Down podcast every Saturday at 11 on YouTube. So I mean, check us out there. We give you picks for college football and the NFL. Each Saturday with myself, Smitty, Pop, and Certified.
All right. And on Wednesday nights, I do the Coast to Coast podcast with myself, and it's me, Whittle 2K, and Beyond 716. We talk Buffalo Bills football every week. We don't take off in the off season. We talk at that point, we talking draft, we talking college players, we talking contract, free agency, etc. So yeah, tap in with us 9 p.m. We're on the Do Champions Network. And we also got some new stuff cooking up that we're working on right now. So yeah, appreciate everybody checking in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Deuce.